Somewhere between Fireball and Who Do We Think We Are, going through the Machine Head period, Ritchie and Ian Gillan agreed to disagree. Something happened. I'm not sure what it was. I'm not sure actually that either of them could now iterate exactly what it was that went down between the two of them. But something did. Maybe it was not a specific thing. Maybe it's just a general malaise, a general dislike of each other. I have no idea, because they used to be quite close. I mean, they used to, back in the day when we had very little money and we were still sharing rooms in hotels. Ritchie and Gillan used to share rooms. So something went strangely wrong. Maybe that's what the problem was. But anyway, so we get towards Who Do We Think We Are, and yeah, they were traveling in separate cars, they were living in separate hotels, all that malarkey. That wasn't very comfortable at all. And when we get into 1973, when Ian Gillan first left the band, the thing that a lot of people forget is he was not fired. He left. I mean, he wrote us a letter saying that he no longer agreed with the direction that the band was taking. Not sure what that was all about. He has later said that he was actually wrong. He shouldn't have left. He's also said that actually what he was looking for was some help. And I do have to say that I think if our management had understood that it was actually a cry for help, that he would not have been out of the band. But then, you know, it would have been a different story, and who knows what would have happened. So maybe it did happen for the best. I have no idea. I mean, if you look back at the story of Deep Purple and the way that things change.
It's staggering to think that the management never did say, well, hang on, just take a 3-month break and we'll talk about it again. It's like, okay, next.
I think that one of the managers, John Coletta, who sadly is no longer with us, but I think John was not a fan of Ian Gillan as a person. I don't think that he and Gillan had more than one good word to say about each other. In fact, the only good word Ian Gillan had for John Coletta was goodbye. So, you know, I think that might have had something to do with it. But what Ian Gillan did was give us a 6 months notice, basically, which was immensely, you know, gentlemanly of him. Broke my heart at the time. Didn't want that to happen one bit. I was, you know, even through the difficulties with Ritchie and Gillan, I still thought we had a marvellous band. What I would have done if I'd have been managing the band, I would have given us a year off. I'd said, go off and do other stuff. Because Ritchie had this nascent idea for what became Rainbow, knocking around in his head. He'd already seen Ronnie Dio play and sing, you know, so I think he had that going. Gillan had this kind of weird idea, something to do with Shirker Zoo. Roger, I think, had a kind of butterfly ball vibe going around in him. So there was all kinds of stuff we could have done. You know, Saraband was by this time knocking around in my head. So generally speaking, we could have taken a year off from Purple. We could have taken 2 years off. And with the benefit of 2020 hindsight, that's what I would have done. You know, it was an immense success story. You know, Purple was becoming huge through dint of extremely hard work, I have to say. You know, we were doing 14-week tours of America, coming home for a couple of weeks, then going back and doing it, you know. So, it was a hard, tough, black and white time. You know, we did what we had to do, but we should have been given some time off. I think Ian's timing, Ian Gillan's timing about leaving the band was terrible. I mean, the band was just on the edge of becoming absolutely massive. And indeed, Burn as an album actually did take advantage of that because it's a tremendously good album, and the band did take that leap into stadium rock, almost. I mean, we were right on the cusp, and I think had Ian not left, we would have done that with him and maybe become even bigger because without the change, that
The drop off.
the drop off that you get from a change.
Yes.